we lost?
No, I know where we're going.
I bet you I could run there faster.
No, you can't.
Right, I'll bet you my watch.
Deal.
Okay, let's go.
Double or quits.
Inter Services Rugby action. The British Army are hosting the Royal Air Force here at the home of Gloucester Rugby. Now, it's been a dry day so far, but it's the Army that have drawn first blood with a 36-8 win over the RAF women earlier. But now it's time for the men to impress. This, of course, is the Army's first foray into the 2023 Championship. So, as we see the tournament table so far, understandably they sit at the bottom. But the RAF and the Royal Navy have already played each other. That game was at the end of March in horrible muddy conditions in Plymouth, a real game of attrition, and it ended in a 13-all draw between the two Blues. So, as ever, it is all still to play for. Now, I'm delighted to be joined by two rugby stalwarts of Inter Services Rugby, and that is Josh McNally, current Bath player, of course, and RAF player, and former Army coach and player himself, Mal Roberts. Mal, I'm going to come to you first. You're not long left the service, but they've got you back in. What's this occasion like, and how pleased are you to be back?
Yeah, it's a great occasion. You know, it's a pinnacle of all military sport in terms from a rugby perspective, and it's great to be back at Kingsholm and a fantastic occasion, and thankfully the weather's going to be kind to us as well.
Josh, congratulations on the game last night. But I know you find it quite frustrating being here as an RAF player and having to watch them play.
Yeah, obviously I've not played for the RAF since 2019 now, so missed last year due to injury. When you come and you understand the occasion, you start to get that buzz. Like you sort of forget what it's like every year, and coming back not to be involved is obviously hugely frustrating. But obviously a reason why, and playing last night was a must for me, and yeah, but still quite frustrating today.
Well, it was a great win for Bath. Congratulations on that. Now, just as we look ahead to this match, and as we count down to the start-off, we're going to talk to the coaches from earlier, and John Knighton spoke to them both.
Now we're on to game day. All your work is done. It's down to the players now.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what I told them before we left the hotel. We're excited, very proud of them. We've got a lot of trust in them. And ultimately now, with the work we've done this season, it's now show time and time for the boys to try and deliver a performance.
I mean, you've obviously seen what the RAF are capable of, and I think you've already paid tribute to the way they played against the Navy, so you know what you're going to be up against today. Yeah,
we do. And with a nice day on a nice pitch, which doesn't suffer from mud or anything like that, we know we're probably in store for a decent, fast, open, attractive game against a decent team that like to play.
Where do you think this match will be won and lost today on a pitch like this in these conditions?
Well, any Inter Services game, I guess, is down to fundamentals at the very essence of what it's about. Who can try and perhaps gain parity in set piece, who's looking to try and make the most of any opportunity they can create, and maybe who's got the strongest defence. So we're looking to test ourselves and let's see what we can do.
Well, Justin, here we are. Gloucester, the chance to at least get a share of the title with a win today. It could be even better.
Yeah, I think we're just focusing on the win today, to be fair, and then make it as difficult as possible for the Navy to set them a good target for Twickenham, and then be a long few weeks.
Indeed, and you know, in terms of the sort of game we can expect today, very different from what we saw, obviously, in the deluge and the mud down in Plymouth.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've changed our game plan massively, knowing that we're playing on the 3G track. Weather is looking good for us to allow a fast, free-flowing game and some high-paced rugby, hopefully.
I mean, in terms of what you're expecting today, you know what to expect from an Army team. You know, they never give up, do they? And you'll be exactly the same. Yeah,
well, we've shown that down in Plymouth, over 80 minutes to nullify the Navy and some of their big players. So I'm hoping that we do the same again today. We've worked hard, we've changed tactically a few positions around with some key players coming back into the mix to allow us to play the game that we've been able to produce in some of the earlier fixtures this year.
You join us here at Kingsholm to watch the British Army take on the Royal Air Force, and I again am joined brilliantly by Josh McNally here and Mal Roberts. Josh, we're just talking about the atmosphere. I mean, there's Twickenham, and then, you know, the atmosphere here at Gloucester, something you're used to maybe in Premiership rugby, but there's something different about military rugby.
Yeah, and there's starting to become a bit of a buzz around these games. Obviously, in the last 4 or 5 years, we've started to put these games into stadiums now, and they're starting to become a bit of a buzz. I had a walk around earlier, seen the different bars where there's different regiments in them now, and they're starting to become a buzz like there was at Army Navy 10, 20 years ago. So, like, these are getting bigger. I think the spectacle and the days are getting bigger, and I think it's going to become a great occasion over the next few years. Yeah,
I mean, Mal, we've got about 6,000 tickets sold for this match, and we had a really great crowd for the women's game earlier. How great is it for you and for the Army, and what's it like to play in front of a crowd like this?
Oh, it's great to play, you know, and you said to Josh earlier about professional and playing in front of those crowds week in, week out. You know, it's unique for military rugby players if they're not in a professional game to play at stadiums, and that's part of the occasion and part of, you know, the psyche in which to get the players in that right frame of mind to go out and play in a stadium, because it is a big occasion. You just need to remind them that you're here to play rugby and you know, the Inter-Service Championship.
Let's talk about the game today. How do you, Josh, see the RAF playing? Do you have any inside knowledge of what they're looking to do against the Army here?
No, I think they need to. It's going to be a completely different game to what it was down in Plymouth. So I think the RAF did a really good job of keeping it tight, and I think they outmuscled the Navy today on a dry, fast track like this on an artificial pitch. With some of the threats that the Army have got, they need to keep the width of the pitch. They need to defend the whole width of the pitch. There's some unbelievable athletes in that Army team that can get the ball offloaded, can make little line breaks, make something magic happen, and if the RAF just slip off for a little minutes, then it could be a long day.
Mal, he talks about those amazing athletes. What's the lineup looking at? You know, what sort of game are the Army going to be playing today?
I'll be honest, I don't think the Army game really changes a great deal. I think, you know, the personalities that are there are slightly different from last year when I was involved, but, you know, the attributes are still the same. It's for me, it's that whole complete performance, you know, from 1 to 23. It's not just about individuals and having that flair and ability. It's about sticking to your structure, sticking to your game plan, and not becoming too loose. I think the Army are good when they play to that structured game, work around the corner, get defences working hard, and then exploit the opportunities out wide.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much, Mal. Thank you, Josh. We'll be hearing from both of these guys later in the game, but now I'm going to throw to commentary with Ash Coates, but first of all, Rupert Cox.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Kingsholm. From Plymouth last month, Gloucester today, and on to Twickenham in May. The 2023 Inter-Service Championship is in full swing, and as always, it is full of great intrigue and all-consuming competition. After a tough 13-all draw between the Royal Navy and the Air Force in Plymouth, the Army, defending ISC champions, joined the fray and kick off their campaign with a chance to go top of the standings ahead of the big occasion at Twickenham. But a win for the Royal Air Force will be enough to at least share the ISC title this season. Now, the Army are a team in transition. A new head coach, a new skipper in Captain Stu Cross, and just 5 players in the starting 15 that kicks off the Army Navy at Twickenham last year. Vast experience in the front row through Titchard Jones, Pete Austin and Gareth Smith. A couple of exciting Fijian-born locks, Vizay and Veretti. Blindside flanker Sam Ackers will be all action at 7 alongside the Captain Cross, and the big ball-carrying number 8, Tiki Nayalo. In the backs, Al Glixton starts alongside veteran fly-half Owen Davies. An exciting new midfielder, Bromley Martin and Veremi Korowale. O'Reilly and McDonald on the wings with Major Will Reeve at fullback. And look at the bench. There's experience there, not least Ifeanyi Bolandau, who stands to win a 25th Inter Services cap today. Royal Air Force head coach Justin Coleman selects a side given a licence to thrill and to play at pace. Player coach Dave Manning plays his 22nd inter-service match at Lucerne Prop. He'll probably switch to the tight head in the second half. Young second row Alex Hayton stole the line out to prevent defeat to the Navy last time out. He's one to watch again. And it's a mobile back row of relative newcomer Zach Taylor, young Sam Shepherd, and the skipper Norton, who plays his last game for the Air Force first 15 today. Big responsibility on the shoulders of former Osprey Ryan Pugh to set the compass at fly half. And a couple of RAF Spitfire Sevens players in the midfield will look to do damage. Lamington Crowley, Mark Williams is the fullback. The sun is shining here at Kingsholm. The stage is set, and here they come. The British Army and the Royal Air Force. Isaac Norton on the right of shot, leading out the RAF for the very last time. And Captain Stu Cross, then number 6 and captain of this Army team, out onto the home of Gloucester Rugby. Alongside me, a neutral voice, if there's such a thing, former Navy head coach, still analyst Ash Coates. Ash, what's this moment like for the players moments ahead of kickoff?
This is where, the excitement builds all week. This is where it starts to feel real. They've done everything they can, and they've just got to get into their own little zones before taking the field, because the first steps to IS Rugby, when the whistle blows, are always thunderous. There's always big hits going in. There's always, a little bit risque what they do, and this is where they just, they're all servicemen. The anthems were about to be played out by a smart military band. It just gives them that pride in the shirt, and it'll be just build that excitement before they go for it.
Yes, RAF band providing the sound check this afternoon. The dignitaries today, Lieutenant General James Swift and RAF Air Marshal Sir Jerry Mayhew, as well as the BT match sponsor John Coles. They will go through the line. There is the skipper Stu Cross during the introductions. Proud moment for these players, and a first ISC game for the Army. Of course, the RAF have that game under the belt, the 13-all draw at Plymouth. What kind of difference might that make today with the Army, their first outing?
They've got to go into this game and basically just ensure that they're still in it come the Army Navy game in a few weeks' time. So just really get at the RAF, make sure that they don't lose, which seems a bit easy to say, but it'd be quite easy just to not focus on getting the game won. But they certainly won't take anything for granted, and knowing that just how well the RAF played against the Navy and the resilience they showed to claw back from 13-0 down to come into the game just really shows that they are a threat, and they really have done their homework and target the Army.
Yeah, well, they're going to need to be on their mettle. Army, perennial favourites in this competition. They've won it 47 times since 1920. Winners last year, of course, and in the corresponding fixture here against the RAF last time out, 35-20. There's a reminder of the table. Army yet to get started. That draw, 1 point apiece. What that means is, of course, is that the Airmen in Sky Blue are within reach of at least a shared inter-service title if they can get a win over the Army today. And it's history as well for them. 100th anniversary since they first won this competition. So can they mirror what the great William Wakefield and his team did all those years ago?
There certainly will be aspiring to do that. Just slight correction. So if the RAF win today, that would make it a run chase for the Navy at Twickenham to win Inter Services, so it can't be a drawn competition. So they'll certainly look to be winning the game and then trying to do as much as they can there to try and put the pressure on the Navy when it gets to that Army-Navy game. Army, like I said before, they just want to make sure that there's no loss, they get a win, and so that it does become a shootout at Twickenham. But there's so much to be played for before we get there.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 6,000 tickets sold here at Kingsholm today. This has become a regular home for this fixture now. They've signed a deal to be here for the next few years, and the public are getting well used to turning up here in the West Country to see this fixture between the Army and the Air Force. OK, we'll pause now for the National Anthem. God save the King. Rings around Kingsholm. We are moments away here. Your officials today from the RFU, Dan Parrott has the whistle. He's assisted by Lieutenant Simon Priestley from the Royal Navy and Lieutenant Commander Dave Philpott as well. Mal Roberts has joined us up on the gantry. Mal, penny for your thoughts. Not long since you left the fold, just ahead of kick-off here.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, totally different side to the one that I coached last year. So, with change becomes that little bit of fresh impetus again. So, really looking forward to seeing the Army getting underway and seeing their start. As for the RAF, I was fortunate enough to be down at the RAF Navy game at Plymouth the other week, and just a really good performance by them, a really solid performance. So both teams have got a lot to play for today.
Looks like we're going to have a change of ball here. Owen Davis doesn't like that one. He's been around. He's playing his 17th ISC game today. 6th for the UK Armed Forces as well. Interesting selection. Jack Johnson, who was a bit of a star last year for the Army. He'll be playing off the bench in this one, but perhaps the experience outside. Al Gilkston at that scrum half. We're underway. Army left to right. And straight off the kickoff, it's Korowale who has won the ball for the team in red, but a penalty early on. There was a hand involved there, so the RAF will have a chance to kick to touch here.
Yeah, restart's so important, and the RAF just to have won the penalty from that after not winning the ball is so important, just to get that ball back. There's so many points conceded when restarts just don't go right, and all the service teams work so hard to get them right.
Ryan Pugh, the Air Force fly half, brought in a calming influence as described by head coach Justin Coleman. What they're looking for, but he has picked a quick team here. He says he wants to blow the Army off the park today. Well, the conditions are certainly perfect for that. Here's a first carry from Corporal Zach Taylor. And now the big tight head prop, John Taylor. Dave Manning there into contact, starting at loose head. And a high ball here from Pugh. And coming up from the back is Major Will Reeve for the Army. And a first carry here for Fijian-born Koro Beretti. This double Fijian second row, but another decision is going to go the way of the Air Force here. That was really good work, I think, from the skipper, Isaac Norton. Breakdown battle always key, Mel.
I think if you look at that and just say that in isolation, then I think if the Army, instead of knocking it up, was to move that another pass or two wider, I think the RAF defence was so narrow, I think, and the Army need to identify that and perhaps don't necessarily just go through the process for process sake.
They've had a good year. unbeaten in 2023. The Royal Air Force, that draw we spoke about against the Royal Navy in Plymouth. They beat Coventry, the British Police, Chinner Rugby Football Club. The game against Cambridge University cancelled because of a frozen pitch, but they've got good muscle memory coming into this one. Good take from Harry Johnson, and here comes the line-out drive from the Air Force, and it's a good one as well. Piling in again, goes to ground about 6 metres out, looking for their first points here early. There's the skipper Norton in his final game in a sky blue shirt. Park in the scrum half wants another carry from his forwards. They've got good numbers to the left if they want to shift it, but they're going to keep it with their heavies up front early, just trying to assert their authority. The pick and go once more, looking for their first try. They're almost there, the Royal Air Force, just short. They're a metre out. The forwards doing the business early on here, driving over the line. They think they've scored a try, and they have done. And I think it's John Taylor, the tight head with the big red beard, who's got up last. We'll get confirmation on the try scorer, but that was imposing early doors from the Air Force close to the line.
Yeah, they certainly took on the Army big guys in and around the tight, and ultimately won that battle. Got the impetus with them penalties. They're saying in the game about 3 mistakes in a row or negatives can result in points, and you look at the penalty, and then a dropped off tackle, and ultimately try for the RAF. Great start by them.
Mark Williams with the kicking duties from right in front, shouldn't be a problem. And it isn't, so the Air Force strike first here at Kingsholm. 7-0 they lead. We're not even 4 minutes done.
Good work for that ball there as well. Timing.
So back underway. Can the Army respond? Here's Harry Johnson, who won that line-out.
Taking in.
Very much known for his ability in the air. Corporal Joe Parkin, described as a leader, a chippy leader by his head coach. Likes to do a lot of talking, the Air Force scrum half. It's pretty much in their DNA, isn't it? But it's been turned over here by the British Army, and here's Veretti again. They come the same way. Davies over the top to Cam McDonald. He's taken care of for now. Good quick ball though. And Gareth Smith, the man they call Bomb Head, the Army tight head prop. Don't ask me why. Been held up here though as Smith, and yeah, that's turned over by Lamont. No, it did go forward off a blue hand, so it'll be an attacking scrum to the Army, but showing a bit of width early on now.
Yeah, no, it's great. Just going back to the RAF try, great sort of like patience to them, and I think they learned a lesson from a few weeks ago down at Plymouth, where they perhaps rushed it a little bit and bombed a couple of chances. So yeah, from my perspective, they just had the patience and that resilience and that confidence in each other to do the right thing at the right time, and multiple phases, and then the Army come back up, and great turnover, move the ball wide, so they show their intention. But for me, it's just that patience when you come back, build the phases, frustrate, create opportunities.
Yeah, confirmation it was John Taylor who scored the try. The chicken farmer from Wales.
Oh, look at us all. Oh, just come a little bit closer. Just a little closer, but same mark.
So this Army front row of Titchard Jones on the loose head side, the man they call Turkish, Pete Austin, Gareth Smith on the tight head. And there's Dave Manning on the loose head side for the Air Force. It's been so long one of the anchors of this RAF team.
Not got 90.
Nyalo picks up and goes off the base. The big Fijian thunders over. Oh, that was too easy. Tiki Nyalo has stormed over for the Army's first try. Conversion will level things up.
Yeah, we spoke before about the importance of restarts, and you know, although the RAF took the restart clean, didn't quite clear their lines, and ultimately that turnover led to a attacking scrum and the points. So you know, got to get these restarts right. But great finish by Shane Naiola, just showing his pedigree and why he's such a danger man at service rugby.
I was going to say, and from my perspective as well, you know, that was just individual class and sheer brilliance. The scrum actually went the wrong way for him. We didn't get the tight head up, went loose head up, so he's picking into the RAF 9, but just his sheer strength to go over.
And the extra couple of points from Owen Davies. So we are level at 7 each. As you say, that scrum wheeled around. That's Sam Shepherd, Sam Shepherd, the open side. Just caught a bit of unawares, and Naiola, look at the power. He's been doing that for years in a red shirt.
Oh, yeah, here you go. There you go.
Of course, let's not forget that big Ifeanyi Bollandow's on the bench today as well for the British Army. So often a starter for this team. They've got some heavy artillery, that is for sure. Reeve.
Yeah, perfect.
Finds touch. It'll be an Air Force throw right on halfway. Major Will Reeve, poor old Gurkha Rifles. Born in Germany, raised in Wales.
Two, just make sure you are the two for me. Stay down there first.
This is Roberts to throw the line out. That part of the game's works okay for the Air Force so far. Norton just juggles it and can't hold on. I think it might have come off a red hand. We play on.
Lost forward. Lost forward. No.
Again, Army cleared well from the restart. You know, gave RAF possession at the line out, but you know, in a good position to defend, and ultimately forcing you know, the error, and you know, still in a strong field position for the Army, although without the ball.
Might have had a little sneaky look at Nyalo there, Isaac Norton, as the big Fijian came down his traffic lane. Player of the match against the Royal Navy, Isaac Norton. There he is at number 8. And a penalty at scrum time. That'll allow them just to take a breath here. Just a patch of the game here where they had to do a lot of defending. They'll aim to get back into Army territory. Good numbers over there in the shed today. Sun shining here. Big fixture last night here as well. Well, it was big for Bath. Got the better of Gloucester in the West Country derby. Sure, Josh McNally would have enjoyed himself. Played the full 80, I think. It was a half break, but advantage now for the Air Force. There's Norton to go and play scrum half. Shapes the kick, the captain, but they had the advantage. It was a free hit, high tackle.
I'm just going to take the 10 now. It's just on the 10 there. We've just got a few penalties keeping in various things other than the scrum.
I think they're going to go points here, are they? You know, they've got a decision to make. You know, keep the scoreboard ticking over, which is probably the right decision. Just get themselves back in the game after a period without the ball.
Yeah, Dan Parrott there, just saying to Stu Cross, penalties mounting up, need to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, that's
discipline's so important.
Yeah, 4 penalties now inside 10 minutes, or within the 10 minutes, and it's just taken away any momentum the Army might have. But, you know, 4 penalties against the Army, that is, with none to the RAF. So yeah, they need to cut that down, because it'll build in the referee's mind, and you know, ultimately as the game goes on, that could result in cards and you know, really disadvantage them.
So Corporal Mark Williams from 40 metres out, just to the right of the post. It's got the distance, but not quite the direction. And they're going to play out here. The Army through Sergeant Connor O'Reilly. And here's Davies. That big left foot of his right up over the halfway line. Chance for Williams and co to try and catch the Army on the counter. Norton just skips away from Naiolo. Here's Sam Shepherd, 25 years of age. His debut season in the senior squad of this Air Force team.
No, isn't. Thank you.
That Norton-Niola battle's really building into something which could be exciting throughout the game.
Absolutely, one to watch. Different sort of shape and size, aren't they? But different kind of games. But yeah, it could be crucial to the outcome. Here's Zach Taylor. Based at Breeze Norton, just down the road here from Gloucester, but this time on the floor. It's a penalty
6 isolated, holding on
to Army, and it was Cotto Veretti that time. Brilliant all-round athlete, athletics, volleyball, cricket. Pretty good at rugby too.
I don't know what. There's yours.
Long line out, overthrown. Into Army hands. Reeve does well with a ball that was slightly behind him. Oh, speaking of hands, how about that from McDonald? Did very well to hold on. Couple of ordinary balls. Well handled. That ball's out. And this is going to be a turnover here for the Air Force. Good work from Will Lamont.
I can't reward you when you've just gone off feet. You've got to ride.
The Army in the warm-up games have been using that overthrown ball at the line-out to bring their runners straight into the game without using the line-out as a function. Whether that's an issue they've got in there, I'm not sure, but they certainly have used that as a tactic in the last few games.
I was going to say, we're kind of 15 minutes into the game now. Both sides are making really uncharacteristic errors, basic errors. I think they just need to settle a little bit, get into the patterns, get into the processes, and just start building those phases and frustrating each other. So, just from an RAF's attacking perspective, you need to take a couple of yards off it, just because the Army are pressing them really hard in D and putting pressure on them. So a couple of steps off it, but from an Army perspective, they're identifying when that turnover opportunity is there, and they've pretty much done every single one that they've gone for.
Well, Norton's done very well there for the Air Force, because the power came on from the Army at the scrum, and he had to pick up off the base and do it all by himself. They've got an advantage here as well as they go with the pick and drive, and showing his class there, Norton, because they were under a lot of pressure there at the scrum.
Yeah, got him out of a bit of a holding, just given the go-forward ball when the pressure was on, and ultimately the penalty that's come to him, give him a good platform for what could be a good attack.
Yeah, if you look at that, I think that's at least 7 or 8 penalties that the Army's now given away in this half alone, and I think you've got to reduce your errors.
Okay, let's go sideline now. John Nyson's got some social media action for us.
Tuning in from all around the forces world to watch how things are going today. John Douglas, good afternoon from Musselburgh. Looking forward to a great game after this morning's win for the Army. Pete Guard, good look from RAF in the Falklands. Just seen Johnny Dorff up it, singing his heart out. That was obviously for the national anthem.
Good
Bolton
start play from the RAF.
Just give Ellis says Dave Ellis raised smiling minus 3. That's the international game. And Brenda Ellis says fantastic try.
Okay, high ball here from the Air Force. We'll try and fix John Knighton's microphone so we can bring some of that social media action to you. Great to have your company wherever you're watching around the world, here on Forces News, YouTube and Facebook. And it's another decision, and I think it's going to be worse here for the Army. Yeah, the penalties have been mounting up, and they're going to go down to 14 players. It's a deliberate knockdown is the call, and that is big Joe Vizet, who is going to have to sit down for 10 minutes. So an opportunity now, big time for the Air Force to try and take advantage. Here's a look at it.
Yeah, he's there for going forward, but his execution's poor, and he's knocked it forward. So the referee's left him in no doubt. He's got to give him a yellow there, unfortunately. The RAF to counter that.
Air Force on attack, but it's been overthrown. Just what you don't want. You want to take opportunities when they're offered up to you. And the British Army now. Long ball from Naiolo. How's that for a pass from the number 8? They've already sprung it all the way over to the left-hand flank. Connor O'Reilly looks like he's got quite a bit about his game. Imi Kotowale there in the 13 shirt, just making they secure possession. And here's big Veretti in midfield. Davies comes the same way. Little show and go, and looking for the pass to the vice-captain Pete Austin. Still alive, though, for the Army. And there's the Jack Now lookalike, Cam McDonald, in the action once again. Ball's out, says the referee. Air Force have it. Or do they? No, it's back on the red side. Naiolo's there again. Man Mountain.
He's Naiolo, we talk about his big moments, but he's been doing a lot of that little stuff really well.
Here's a chip over from Davies. It's an awkward ball, and it's dangerous for the Air Force. O'Reilly's there, and it's going to be an Army scrum about 5 metres out. That was dangerous, Mal Roberts, for the Air Force on that occasion.
I must admit, from being an ex-fullback myself, that's I can't quite explain what the RAF fullback was attempting to do there. You know, a great identification space from Owen to put that ball into space, and with Connor chasing as he does after every course, he makes it into a positive game for the Army.
Here's another look at it.
And that's the key thing, you know, you look at Connor, and Connor turned that into a really good kick. Owen identified the space, you know, Connor put pressure on, and there's a great turnover in the end. Probably unlucky not to get a penalty for perhaps holding on, but, you know, that's the ref's interpretation, and now the Army are in the ascendancy in attack.
So the platform set here, but this time, look at the Air Force 8. Get the shove on, that ball's out, and Glixton's under a bit of pressure, the Army scrum half, but there's O'Reilly again. Look at the leg drive. He has really impressed so far. They're going to change direction here. Al Glixton, German international, and Naiolo with a carry. Actually, Naiolo's here at first receiver. He's going to try and get some more go forward. Going in is James Roberts for the Air Force. Doesn't win it. Davies, a little delayed ball to O'Reilly. A little cheeky dink over the top. Oh, it's been brilliantly taken by Mark Williams. Now a chance for the Air Force to catch the Army on the counter-attack. Favourable bounce there for Owen Davis, and now he has an opportunity to run with the ball in hand. This is good stuff here at Kingsholm. Both teams willing to play in transition. Good to see. Here's Turkish, Sichar Jones. Reed back in the pocket, but that's a terrible pass. And it is a knock-on the floor, so the Air Force will get the ball back. Helter-skelter. Ash Coates at Kingsholm. What's going on?
It's been a really exciting few minutes. Pretty sure there was a knock-on in the 22 there from the Army, but it was missed, and it just led to a really exciting phase of play. RAF break, nothing quite broke, or didn't quite break for them, and you know, yeah, just a really exciting few phases of play. And you know, what a day, what an exciting game.
Yeah, if you look back at that last whole passage of play there, for me, the really impressive thing from both sides is the unseen work off the ball. It's that chasing after the ball, making it into a positive game for your respective sides, and you know, that little kind of 2-minute facet of play there is a true identity of Services Rugby. Both sides are here to play rugby, and they're very good. And for me, like I said, you know, it's that unseen work that people are doing off the ball to make those positive games for their respective team.
Great to have the inside of former British Army head coach and former Navy head coach Ash Coates and Mel Roberts with us today. Mel, I want to ask you about Conor O'Reilly. He has been lively so far out there on the left wing. He's everywhere.
Yeah, for me, you know, Conor's played for me for a number of years, you know, when I was a backs coach and then as the head coach last season. And for me, Conor does the unglamorous stuff. He does the hard yards, he does the work, he does that work off the ball that I was alluding to earlier. And he makes those 50-50 his ball every single time, and you know, might not necessarily be the fastest winger on the pitch, but what you get from Conor, he reminds me, he's kind of in the mould of Jack Noel. He's just that really industrious winger, hard work rate, and will give you 100% every time.
You're right, it's Cam McDonald who's got the headgear on the right wing. He looks like Jack Noel, but this guy plays like him. Conor O'Reilly. Still 15 or 14 here for the Air Force after the Army yellow card. They haven't been able to take advantage of it yet, but here's a good carry from Will Lamont inside ball to Norton, and the big tackle coming in on him from Cameron McDonald, and that's gone forward. And these Army wingers standing up big time so far. What a tackle.
I was going to say, if you see there, you know, Cam's worked off his right wing and he's made that really dominating tackle in midfield, and you know, caught Isaac slightly by surprise, if I'm being totally honest.
He just got checked by big Tiki Nayalo first, didn't he? He just sort of slightly put him off balance, and then little McDonald came in to finish him off.
Yeah, just a glancing shot there.
We got an Air Force player over on the far side. Now he's back on his feet. He's just down.
So how many? Six.
Tell you what, it's a nice looking watch on the left wrist of that assistant referee. Great to have Elliot Brown here as our matchday sponsors of the Inter Services tournament. Here's Bombardier Pete Austin, the vice captain, with the line out throw. Sam Ackers in the 7 shirt. And they have a switch of direction again. Will Reeve dabs it through. Back to Ryan Pugh, who sends it back with a bit of interest. Got a good running game, does Major Will Reeve, if he can get up and running, but decides to pass over the top to Giles Bromley Martin. He kicks, and that's an awkward one for Mark Williams, who's back in his 22. And he will send that over the touchline. So back up to the halfway, but at the moment, the Army so far dealing with the yellow card very well indeed.
Yeah, they've done really well since the man's gone off. You know, a kicking duel there, which you could argue the Army have won that just by making the RAF kick on their on the Army terms. A good phase of play, and I say managing the time while the man's in the bin.
I think when you go down a man as well, I think it galvanises you. I think it just sharpens your mindset ever so slightly to go back to your processes, go back to what you're comfortable with, go back to hitting those phases, just getting territory and just trying to maintain that continuity and holding on to possession for as long as you possibly can.
Good carry from Nayolo. I like this change of direction. Titchard Jones. It's a nice deft touch from the big veteran loosehead. Here's Owen Davies again, was looking for that lazy inside ball, but Sam Shepherd wasn't having any of it. Good tackle from the Air Force open side. Pete Austin again.
No, your players brought in there, not the wrong.
7-all. British Army and Royal Air Force, and that opportunity for Imi Korowale. His first inter-service championship game for the British Army. A lot of interest in the Army number 13. Newcastle Falcons recently signed this season. Davies kicks. It's been kept inside, but slightly dangerously, and Williams under pressure from McDonald. And somehow they get out of it here. A good quick feet here from Ryan Crowley. Good to see him back from injury with the Royal Air Force.
And you know, that's what Ryan brings to the side, and I think the RAF slightly missed him down at Plymouth a few weeks ago against the Navy. He's got unbelievable footwork, powerful, compact runner, really elusive.
Here's Will Reeve again, the Freddie Stewart lookalike, full-back for the Army. He's had a lot to do, lots of high balls being put up. Nayolo with a lovely cut-out ball. Here is Kodowale, the first look at him go, ball in one hand, gets away from one, inside! A try-scoring offload from Imi Kodowale. Oh, that was lovely to watch, the Army at their best.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Sam Ackers finishes off the try for the British Army, but that was beautifully worked from the newcomer, Kodowale.
Yeah, great hands there. He carrying the ball in one hand. You know, you see why Newcastle have looked at him this season. He's had games there. You know, ultimately made a break and just identified the support with him and put Ackers away. Who you know, is a great seven. Who provided that continuity and support to finish off the try. Yeah, broke a bit of what's been a defensive deadlock in the game with some real good defensive play from both teams. It needed something special, and I think we've just seen it.
You know, if you look at that, this could be, even this early on in the game, that could be the crucial part of the game. You know, the Army reduced to 14 men, but they come out on top on the scoreboard in that period, which is testament to them. And I go back to my previous point of, it just sharpens your mind a little bit to stick to your processes, go for your patterns, and you know, you get your just rewards.
Extra 2 points from fly half Davies to convert the Ackers try, and what a fine score it was. As you say, Mal, playing with a man down after the sin bin. Here's another look at it. What a ball runner this guy is.
I think the RAF will be slightly frustrated there defensively. They left a lot for that outside man to make up the distance, and I think they got quite narrow defensively, and the Army identified that and exploited it.
Well, it was the Air Force head coach Justin Coleman who was saying beforehand that they picked a team to play with pace today, move this Army side around, try and tire out some of their big ball carriers. But at the moment, it's the British Army that have shown the flair. 14-7, approaching 30 minutes. Davies again, who's steered the ship well, to borrow a maritime phrase here for the Army. That's turnover though for the Air Force, and can they make something of it? Army back to the full complement here, so we're 15 on 15 again. We'll go back for the knock-on. Had their chances down this sort of part of the field, the Royal Air Force, haven't they? Just haven't been able to make something of it.
No, we just see from the Army there, it took something special just to break that space, and the Air Force have been probing, and there's been some great running from their backs. They've just not quite had that clear break or that final offload. What we do know about the Air Force, they showed down in Devonport against the Navy that they showed the resilience to be able to come back from being points down. So you know, maybe we will see that, and you know, certainly see them through the game. I can see it looks like Bolladau warming up down there, which would be a big impact at this stage of the game. In fact, he's coming on.
Yes, he's coming on. You'll see him just loom into picture soon. You'll probably see his shadow first. There he is. Lance Corporal Ifiremi Bollandau, Bolla, as he's known. And what a moment for him. His 25th all-time inter-services game, Mal Roberts. That's just extraordinary.
It is, you know, and it can happen to a nicer bloke. He's an absolute gentleman off the pitch, and you know, for me personally, I just want to wish him well for his 25th cap, and what a fantastic achievement. There's not many of us that are in that group, and it's great to welcome Bolla into that group. Like I said, just a fantastic bloke, and just, you couldn't wish for a better bloke. Absolute gentleman off the pitch, but I probably wouldn't want to be in front of him on the pitch.
Yeah, good to see Bolla out there. Disappointment though for the try scorer Sam Ackers, who's heading to the sideline here, just holding his right hip or lower rib, is it? looks a bit uncomfortable.
Bolladao actually made his try-scoring debut here for the Combined Services against the Gloucester side, in his first game for the Combined Services. So he certainly showed his talent and potential that day, in the early days.
Well, a try-scoring debut for Sam Ackers and a quarter century of caps for his replacement, Bolladao. Norton flicks it up off the base to his scrum half. Nayolo's there, as is the Army scrum half, Gloucester. He's been a bit of a menace around the fringes. RAF here just need to take stock and try to get to half-time without inflicting any more damage, one would think. Hopefully pick up some points before the break to give them confidence, but after a very, very bright start with a try to John Taylor, they've had to weather a pretty heavy storm from the Army since then. And they decide to kick into Army territory again. Reeve again. Safe as houses. Heavy contact with Lloyd Owen.
No! Yeah, right,
Bolladao with his first carry. Ball comes out of that area. Titchard Jones is going to give it to his fly half, and here they now come again. It's a forward pass, says the referee, so relief there for the Air Force, because this Army team, it seems, no matter where they are on the field, Mal Roberts, they want to play.
Yeah, it's really pleasing to see, and they're playing to their strengths, playing to their attributes. I think they've identified that the RAF are actually defending really narrow. I think their outside man was inside the outside upright, and that's not good, knowing that the Army's threats are. They like to move it wide and they like to exploit outside of that 13 channel, and the Army are great at doing that. They've identified that and moved it into space 4, 5, 6 times, and they're getting really good territorial gains.
So the Air Force with another scrum feed. They've had plenty of these in this part of the field in this first half, but just the 7 points to show for it so far. Big long back line. Can they use it? The tackle comes in again from Kotawale, who's really warmed into this contest. They're going to go back for the original infringement, but yet again in midfield, they can see what actually the Air Force was trying to do there. They're trying to show some width, but it was just snuffed out in midfield. Good D.
Yeah, the Army have been really good at just having that flyer wherever the edge is on the field. So when you're trying to exploit that edge in attack, they're just sending someone up early and just shutting that down. They're making them tackles, and interested in the RAF have gone for the line out here, trying to really, rather than take possibly reasonable points from a kick.
I think from a defensive perspective from the Army, they've identified that, Ryan Crowley is a threat. He's got great footwork, great acceleration, great upper body strength to defend, and I think they're pressing hard off him. I think from an IF perspective, they perhaps need to look at getting Ryan a couple of yards deeper and playing off him a little bit more, as opposed to Ryan taking it.
Well, they're going to use the forwards here. This is the sort of stuff that set up their opening score, and they're making good progress again. And they're over the line, and they do have another try. That's just what they were looking for before the break. That catch and drive from the line out bearing fruit once again, and almost against type here. It's the front eight of the Air Force that are doing the job for them to keep them in touch with Army. The conversion could be the levelling score.
Against Bedford last week, the Army conceded 3 tries from line-out mauls. I'm sure the RAF have identified that as a potential area to attack, and they certainly demonstrated it. Looked like a gamble going for the line-out, but they've took the points from it, and looks like been a very good gamble. Keeps them in the game, and after a difficult period.
I must admit, it's kind of looking forward to the second half. If from my perspective, that was far too easy for an RAF score there. The Army need to work harder in front of that ball and defend that better. From an RAF's perspective, now they kind of done the homework, as Ash alluded to, and identify where they're going to play. And with the Army conceding in excess of 10 penalties in this first half alone, it's a bit of a worrying sign.
Conversion doesn't get there, so remains a 2-point lead for the Army as we approaching half-time here.
Yeah. Time off. We're just finding out now. We're just finding out now. Time on. Time out. We'll play on.
So Sam Shepherd, the Air Force open side, we're giving the try to there at the moment. We're going to double check it for you. It was a pile on. We couldn't quite make out the numbers. But what a moment, if it is the case, for the young player in this Air Force side. But here come the Army once again. Connor O'Reilly, he'll take some stopping. That's the 22-metre line. He flicks it up off the floor to Nayola. They're looking to strike back here before the break. Veretti can't get the ball away. Yes, he can to Titchard Jones. Kodawale has to track back after the ball goes behind him. Norton's there, the RAF captain. Here's Reeve at scrum half. Titchard Jones, so often the man they call Turkish, looms in midfield with a bit of ball play, keeps it alive once again, but going in for the turnover there is Jonathan Taylor for the Air Force, and needed that again because Army had a bit of momentum.
Yeah, the RAF have done really well there to defend that, you know, because the Army made that break into the 22 and looked like they were going to be able to exploit some broken field RAF defence, but they managed to force the error and force the penalty, and you know, you see them celebrating that, generate some energy, you know, and should be able to exit. Well, they'll exit this with a kick and give them a platform after scoring them last points.
And that's the thing, you know, the Army are moving the ball wide in it, and it's great to see, but with that you've got to resource the breakdown accordingly, and you know, the Army are moving it wide, but on numerous occasions now they've been turned over, and I think we're now, there's that 11 or 12 penalties in the first half alone, and if you want to win an inter-service match you've got to be conceding less penalties than that, and you just, once you put a side under pressure and you've got them on the rack, you just let them off with that easy territorial game for them. I think, you know, just need to, that message at half-time's key. It's you know, if the Army want to go on and win this game, they need to look at their discipline, definitely.
So Ryan Pugh kicks it up towards the halfway line. James Roberts, based at RAF Leeming in Yorkshire, will throw the line out. Again, the target is the main man, Harry Johnson. And here they go again. Norton just peels off, but it's been well read by Gareth Smith. And Norton's got himself on the wrong side here, and that's turnover ball for the Army. Davies cut out Kodawale. There's that hitch kick. Good tackle, though. It was Ryan Crowley who put him on the floor, and another turnover on the floor, this time from Sam Breeze, who's come off the bench for the Air Force, and the number 20 shirt. Getting back here is Cam McDonald. In fact, it's Connor O'Reilly who switched wings.
No!
Just penalties in both directions at the moment. Bit stop-start. Joe Parkin can't quite believe it. Not sure what that one was for, Ash, but there's been a few in this first half, hasn't there?
Yeah, there's been there's a lot about, you know, reading the referee or learning from the referee. They mean game things that a coach can't affect, and you know, the players have just got to learn, you know, leave the ball alone. They're not getting anything out of it. They're trying to have a dip on it every time, and it's they're taking away momentum when they need to build momentum. Just to keep hold of the ball and keep that possession.
No, there's no advantage. He fairly rinked it.
Here's Pete Austin, another great serve in his 19th inter-service game for the Army today. A handful for the UK Armed Forces as well. That's a difficult ball for Gloucester. And here's Cameron McDonald. That one has definitely gone forward. It's advantage here for the Air Force. Can they make something of it? with the advantage here. Good carry from Dave Manning. They're going to fling it back the near side. Pugh. Here is Lloyd Owen, who was a little upset. The previous decision, he might think twice about running into Bombardier Pete Austin, who's let a rocket go in the direction of Lloyd Owen. Wow.
Yeah, he's certainly got it there. The RAF pilot certainly blown out the sky there.
Yeah. Try and stay airborne, Lloyd. Don't fancy your chances on ground zero running front on into Pete Austin. Yeah, he felt that.
A little bit higher. About that.
Lloyd, another great servant, service rugby, been around quite a few years now. We've got CS caps alongside his RAF caps, and like I say, a great servant.
This healthy crowd here at Kingsholm enjoying this contest. Just 2 points the difference between the British Army and the Royal Air Force, and the RAF now with an opportunity on the far side. It's Toby Evans showing a lot of pace. Good quick ball for them as well. Here's Isaac Norton, the captain, in his last game for the Air Force before he leaves the service. They keep it alive. No obstruction, says the referee. Carried on by Harry Johnson. Can the Air Force find the go-ahead score before half-time here? That's a loose pass, and Ryan Crowley has to pick it up and go again. Solid character, big wide hips, takes some stopping. Counter up there. Looking for the turnover are the Army. Roberts plays scrum half. Here's the loose head prop, Dave Manning. We'll probably switch to the tight head sometime in the second half in this game. Sam Breeze, he's been lively since he's come on, the number 20. Pugh, final play of the first half. Norton chopped to the floor right in midfield, but still alive for the RAF. Here's the fullback, Williams. Inside ball.
Nothing doing.
To Lloyd Owen, and here they come now. Air Force, this is better from them. Offloading the ball, keeping it alive. Toby Evans, the vice captain.
Yeah, fine.
Park in the scrum half. Here's the big second rower, Harry Johnson. Crowley again. It was Manning who tried to hack it forward. And it's into red hands. There's Bollandowda, Nyolo.
Leave it.
So again, bit of a theme in this first half. Royal Air Force perhaps not taking their opportunities. And Al Glixton will kick it over the sideline, and that will bring us to half-time. Warm applause around Kingsholm for an entertaining first half. Not much in it. 2 tries apiece. It's Army 14, Royal Air Force 12 at the break. Okay, apologies there for some of the technical difficulties. We're having our pitchside microphones. We'll get back to Josh and Mal and Kath in a little bit. But what we're watching now is trophy presentation. That's the British Army women's team who had a good 36-8 victory over the Royal Air Force women today. And that was a bit of a surprise, Ash Coates. A lot of people fancied the RAF women coming in with the likes of Amy Cockayne and Karis Williams in their team into this contest. But in the end, the Army were far too good.
Yeah, it was. The RAF started off like a train, really did well, in the opening quarters of the game. Then, unfortunately, they took a couple of key injuries. Amy Cockayne, unfortunately, went off with an injury. And the Army just seemed to build on the RAF not taking their chances and ultimately winning the game. You can see them on the pitch there, the ladies with their new caps, which is always great to see. People rewarded for getting their first inter-service caps, and they'll enjoy the rest of the afternoon and the night. Looks like they start to enjoy it already, but good to see them be able to lift the trophy in front of a big crowd. And it was a great crowd earlier to watch them play. It's testament to where ladies service rugby has grown alongside the whole game of ladies rugby.
Absolutely, and it's of course now a double header at Twickenham in the Army-Navy game. Women and Wem for the second time will be playing together on May 13th. Yeah, they've got a couple of weeks, haven't they, to maybe, refresh themselves if they do choose to celebrate this evening.
Yeah, they can have a good night tonight. They've got, May the 13th, the Army-Navy game. I know the Navy ladies were disappointed at their result in Devonport against the RAF, but certainly are growing in stature and definitely going to make it into a challenging competition when they play the Army ladies after the men's game at Twickenham on May the 13th.
Yeah, Sally Bellhouse there amongst the British Army players. She was player of the match again to back up her player of the match performance at the in the Army Navy at Twickenham last year. Some player, isn't she?
Yeah, they've got some very talented players. There's international ladies there, and it just again testament where they're wanting to come and say we're about to see Jade, the Army skipper, lift the trophy. I think that's alongside.
So here we go. The British Army women celebrate their win over the Royal Air Force. Jade Mullen there on the left of shot, the captain. She was outstanding once again, and on that count we've managed to iron out the kinks, and we can head back down to studio with Kath. Take it away, Kath.
The Army women there lifting the trophy for their win over the Royal Air Force ladies earlier, but we have a really exciting and tight game here between the Royal Air Force men and the Army men. Josh, I'm going to come to you first. It's only 2 points in it, but what do you think the RAF will be thinking at this time?
I think they'll be pretty pleased with how things are going. I think the tight game is working really well for the RAF. Two great driving line-outs. I think the tighter they can keep this game, it gets the Army frustrated, but you let the Army get it a bit wider, it becomes one-on-one battles that the Army are currently winning, and you see some unbelievable tries from the Army. So I think that the tighter they can keep this game, keep the strengths in the tight and the set piece, I think the RAF would be pretty happy with that first half win.
Mal, you had a few choice words as if you were still coach that you would be giving them in that dressing room at half-time.
Yeah, I think from if I put my head coach's hat back on, it would be a lot of frustration. If you can see double figures penalty in a half of rugby, you do well to come out on top. And I think, for me, the message would be quite clear at half-time. It's discipline, retain ball, frustrate the RAF, and play in the right areas. Because I think, as Josh alluded to, the Army are making really good territorial gains outside of that 13 channel. But then the RAF are defending really well and picking the battles and turning those balls over because the Army aren't resourcing it accordingly out wide. So, yeah, just a little bit frustrated from an Army perspective. Discipline's key, and that would be my key message at half-time.
OK, well, we're going to look at the first RAF try, which looked hopeful, the light blues, at first, Josh, because, they were able to get that score on the board early. So just talk us through that first score and how important it was for the RAF.
Yeah, I just think, firstly, it's like a great statement. I think to get a score down early in a game like this, it just settles all those nerves. And then I think, like what I just said to you, in these tight encounters, the RAF are starting to really impose themselves. And I think the more they can do this, I think it'll suit the RAF. And they can find the ways of getting in the game, playing in the right areas to enforce themselves into those tight areas.
Do the RAF play a sort of forward, strong game anyway?
I think they've always had a good forward pack. I think we have got a good back three on the park, but if we can dominate up front, then there's no reason we need to go to those back three players. So I wouldn't change much from what I've seen in the first half.
That was within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Another 5 minutes later, and the Army scored, Mal. Just want to talk us through that first score for them.
Yeah, so for me, you know, if you look at the scrum here, we probably wanted a tight head up here for Shane to go on the right-hand side, but, you know, he picks against the wheel. Should never have scored there, really, far too easy. But for me, you know, that just shows the class of Shane. He's a phenomenal athlete, really strong, powerful, dynamic, and you know, scored where he probably shouldn't have. But that's, like Josh alluded to, you know, that's the class of some of the key strike players within the Army setup. They can score tries out of nothing.
Josh, you played with Shane at London Irish. I mean, he's a real powerhouse, isn't he?
Yeah, he's unbelievable from the base. I think me and Mal spoke a bit about him at the start. Like, he changed the game last year. Twickenham in the Army-Navy game, he probably won the Army, the IS in that last 20 minutes. So to keep him contained, I don't think, like Mal just said, that he scores far too easy there. Like, you can't give him space, especially 5 metres out like that. So someone we've got to look out for, especially off set piece like that. They've tried to use him off line-outs as well. He's an important strike runner for them, and we've got to contain him.
Mal, the next Army score was an absolutely incredible run from Korowale, obviously scored by Ackers in the end, but just talk us through this score.
Yeah, and you know, I alluded to up the top during commentary in the first half, the RAF defence got really narrow there, identified early, great outside break, great individual running, you know, the Fijian Filaire carrying the ball in one arm, really hard to wrap him up and contain him, and you know, Ackers in his first outing in an IS shirt shows that he should be at this level, a great support 7 line there to support on the inside, picking up that pass, and you know, great score.
And Josh, of course, Korowale playing Premiership rugby up at Newcastle, so you know he's got the skills and sort of level that you would bring into a game as well.
Yeah, and that 13 channel is so difficult to defend because Ryan Crowley's playing there out of position. If you get 1 step wrong, 1 yard wrong, you've got someone like him coming around the corner into that 13. It's so difficult to defend, and one-up tackles, you've got to make your one-up tackles in that 30 channel. If you don't, then it's going to be very difficult to stop momentum going and getting line breaks, and the Army are always going to finish off line breaks like that.
We did worry then, some were worried obviously that the Army would then run away with it, but the RAF scored in enough time before half-time to make the scores, well, not quite level, 14-12. Just talk us through this try.
Yeah, like I said, the set piece is going really well. I think the line-out's going really well for the RAF. And just, like I said, we've just got to find, RAF have got to find ways to get in the areas, get shots at driving line-outs 5 metres out, because the Army don't seem to want to be able to defend it or are struggling to defend it. And like they're just walking over there. So discipline is going to be key in this area. Discipline, get the right. Mal talks about it. The Army are giving away too many penalties that are giving opportunities like this. The Army have got to stop that to avoid situations like this.
Right, so Mal, you know, you find it very difficult to be here and not have that coach's head on, but it's enjoyable. There's a good crowd. The weather's good. You know, what do you see ahead of the second half?
You know, it's a great contest. I don't think, you know, it's gone are the days now where it wasn't a contest and scores have run away, you know, from an Army's perspective. And that's not being derogatory to anyone, but it's now a contest. Both sides are here. Both sides are putting great performances, and I think, you know, this second half's going to be no different. It's not going to be a 20-30 point win. It's going to be nip and tuck, and I think, you know, that's testament to both coaching setups that have prepared the sides really well to go out and perform at IS. And I think what this does for military sport is put Inter Services Rugby on the map, and you know, it's always been there or thereabouts because people like Josh then go on and get professional contracts, and you know, there's numerous others that are doing that the same. But I think this is a great advert for military sport.
Thank you so much, Mal. Thank you so much, Josh. They will be joining you here on commentary for the second half as we watch that here on BFBS and Forces News.
What does it take to become a master? Power, skill, knowledge. It takes patience, take action. Elliot Brown, Beachmaster.
Welcome back to Kingsholm, everybody. The big crowd here have taken a 15-minute break, as have we, and the stage is set for a second half, which could be quite something if the first 40 minutes was anything to go by. 14-12, Army lead RAF. 2 tries apiece, just the 1 conversion, the difference, and we are back underway. And again, it's a deep ball down to Major William Reeve, and he puts it over the sideline. Ash Coates, former Navy head coach, had a good half time to think about that first half. What are you expecting here in the second?
Hopefully more of the same. It's been such an exciting first half, you know, and proved to be a close game, but I'm going to think that the RAF are going to try and target that Army set piece a bit more. They've seen a bit of success there when they've tried to go wide. They've actually been, you know, turned over, and the turnovers made Army a threat. But let's see what happens.
Pleased to say we've been joined on commentary here by Josh McNally. He's hot-footed it up from the studio, and probably not the start you wanted to see with the crooked throw to the line out from your boys, the Air Force there, Josh.
There's a lot of steps. I'm out of breath.
We did play 18 minutes last night, to be fair.
Oh, give me a minute.
Oh, professional athletes, eh? But now we've got a change here at scrum half. Mikey McDonald is out there for the Army, a number 21, utility player. Powerful scrum. It's screwed again, and they've been accused of wheeling it at the Air Force, so that's a straight-arm penalty to the British Army.
It's Mikey on with his brother there, both German internationals.
Yeah, Cameron McDonald out there on the right wing. It's been impressive. Owen Davies so far in this game. He's steered this Army team around the park pretty well so far this afternoon.
Yeah, it's, I think in some quarters a bit of a surprise, the selection at 10. You know, but you know, proving selectors right so far. He really has done well in controlling the game.
So Pete Austin to throw the attacking line outs for the Army, and they bring it down well. And now they can get their catch and drive going. Austin there has it at the back. They've separated slightly here though, so RAF re-engage. And they just halted the Army in their tracks here. Veretti, the big number 5's there, and Mikey McDonald wants to play. He's been slightly scragged and a little messy from the Army, but they do maintain the ball. Nayala. His ball carrying's been impressive as usual, but here's an opportunity now. Obstruction in midfield. Yeah, in front of the ball. That's Imi Kodavale just in front of the ball there, and the RAF want to force the issue here. But they might want to think twice, because the tackle from Josiah Vizay was absolute dynamite. You could feel that one from up here.
Forward, man in front.
Oh my God.
Josh McNally, just talk to us about that tackle, please.
Man in front.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. That's just raw power there. Caught him clean. I'm just unsure what the RAF are doing there. Hey. You don't want that. You do not want that. Just
second hit.
Just a strange one from the RAF there to decide to go quick. I think set piece has been going well for them. Like, you're in your own half, get out your own half. I don't really think the RAF need to do that.
They've possibly identified they want to target the Army fitness the second half and just keep the ball playing. But you know, it seemed a strange play. And so that's the second big crunch that Lloyd Owen's been on the receiving end up for.
Amazing.
Saw tonight.
He's got up both times. He was absolutely cleaned up. An opportunity here for Davies to extend the British Army's lead, and he does so. Excellent goal kicking from the Army fly half.
Shows that adage of playing rugby in the right areas of the pitch. You know, because if you do turn over, any mistakes, then you can be punished. And not now all of a sudden, what was a penalty difference game is now take it to a try scoring difference.
So can the Air Force respond? That's a statement early on here from the Army to start this second half. Big defence, picking up their points when on offer. That ball finally trickles over the sideline. He's been impressive, Major William Reeve at the back for the British Army. There is the tall, lanky figure.
Yeah, he's been really clean. He's been no nonsense with how he's exited. Just found touch when it's needed to. Helped by what's a glorious day, great conditions, but hasn't put a foot wrong.
Army step. Step across, over the line.
Talks about this, Josh. Army just being told to get on their side of the line-up.
Yeah, just the Army obviously know that the RAF have got a threat at the line out, just trying to close the gap, disrupt as best as they can, put a bit of pressure on the throw. It's been a huge weapon for the RAF this first half, so Army obviously coming out with a clear plan to try and close the gap to disrupt as best as possible.
Hitting and spinning in midfield is Corporal Will Lamont. That's the halfway line. Good line speed, good defence, but that's a good carry just to get a little bit of momentum for the Air Force. There's a bit of afters in back play.
Take your own men. Don't come running in. Take your own men.
Things just boiling over a little bit here. I think Will Lamont's on the floor there. He was involved for the Air Force. And it might have been his opposite number, Giles Bromley Martin.
Anything other than a word.
That was having a bit of a scuffle.
Yeah, I don't know what started that, but they certainly didn't leave it alone.
Have a listen to this. Hang on. I'll be 13.
From a RAF tactics point of view, a few weeks ago against the Navy, they attacked the blind side quite regularly. But today they've not looked to do that at all. They've not rewound on anything. Whether that will change throughout the game, because they got quite a lot of success.
This is the first instance. This will be the only instance. Okay. If it carries on and we escalate it, people have some time off. We're not going to guarantee the colour of the card. Okay. If anything happens there, you can look at it afterwards. We haven't seen anything. We haven't seen it. Okay. It ends now. Okay. Scrum.
In fact, it was Owen Davies, the fly half.
In possession.
Not like standoffs to get involved in that kind of skullduggery, is it?
I couldn't hear. What did the ref say? I didn't hear.
I think he was just calming the situation down, telling both captains to talk to their players. Usual stuff. I mean, it wouldn't be an Inter Services match, would it, without a bit of spice?
No, not at all. I was surprised when you said Giles Bromley Martin was involved in a bit of afters. He didn't sound the type.
My apologies to Captain Giles Bromley Martin. It was Bombardier Owen Davies that was getting stuck in.
A lot more like it.
Look at that, what a great shot. That personifies the day, doesn't it? Sun shining here in Kingsholm. Over 6,000 tickets sold. Rugby fans here in the West Country absolutely loving this. Army 17-12 leading the Air Force, and it's back into the hands of Mikey McDonald, though. He's really impressed since she's come on, but there's a penalty here. Almost every time the ball goes on the floor in this game, the referee seems to spot something. He doesn't miss much, does he, Dan Parrott?
No, he's a RFU panel referee. Comes with a bit of experience, but he's certainly hot with anything on the ground, anything being played at all, and he's penalising it.
I think the rucks have been pretty well contested. I think both sides are really going in, whether it's counter-rucking, going for the poach. I think it's been a really good contest, and I think the referee's actually got this pretty bang on most of the times. You've seen these little balls squat out because it is under pressure in there, so hotly contested. I think it's been a great contest at the breakdown.
Change here for the Air Force. Scott Westwood My apologies. Matt Harris is coming on in the 18 shirt. He's going to replace the try scorer, Jonathan Taylor. A cyberspace communications specialist.
Yeah, come in. Yeah, come in.
Is Matt Harris. With old Albanians in his civilian rugby life.
I've seen a bit of a swing with the RAF set piece where they've had a lot of success first half, and second half set piece hasn't really functioned. We see them lose the ball at base of the scrum before. Line out's not functioned there. Whether that's the changes or just getting into this half, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think I agree. Just 2 line-outs there going. It's been such a strength for the RAF in the first half. Just need to look at the next job now. Almost part of those 2 mistakes, and it's been such a weapon for them getting into this game and keeping them in this game. So we can't dwell on the mistakes.
We have another reset here. These scrums have been competitive all afternoon. Both forward packs have had their moments.
Come closer. Arms up.
Yeah, Dave Mannings switched over to the tight head side, as we often see for the Royal Air Force, described by Justin Coleman as the best prop in Armed Services Rugby.
Probably agree with that as well. He's so versatile. He's an 80-minute forward, can play both sides. He's a ball carrier, he's a juggler, he's a tap. There's not much he can't do. Puts a boot to ball as well every now and again. He's been a huge servant to the RAF.
Owen Davies putting the boot to ball here down in the direction of Mark Williams. That's nicely taken by Korowale. As you mentioned, making his Inter Services debut today. Came up with a brilliant try assist in the first half, but the man who went off, Sam Atkins. No! Seen some good tries in this game so far. 17-12. Just through 50 minutes here. Bit of go slow here, though, from the British Army. Mikey McDonald plays. In from fullback is Reeve at first receiver. Good defence, though, from the Air Force, looking to force the turnover once more. That's a loose pass, and it's been picked up and kicked by Cameron McDonald, brother of Mikey, and that's a mark for the Air Force. Yeah, just calm down, fellas. We'll be all right. That's the message from Toby Evans, vice-captain of the team.
There's a long way to go, and they don't need to chase the game at all. The RAF is just slowly just try and creep back into it and, stay competitive going into that final 10.
This part of an IS game is always crucial. This first 10 minutes out after half-time. One coach has probably given a rocket. One coach has probably said, stay calm. Just how you adapt to the substitutions. It's just it's so crucial in the way the second half sort of unfolds. Which team deals with it the best?
Right in front of the shed, Pete Austin throws the line out. Josh McNally, you managed to keep that shed pretty quiet last night.
Time off, changes.
Sorry, what did you say? Sorry.
You managed to keep the shed pretty quiet last night.
For the majority of the game, yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was. This place was rocking. Like, this place is unbelievable. Kingsholm is such a good place for rugby. From the minute you walk out to warm up, it's absolutely buzzing. But yeah, to come here and to be able to silence the shed was an experience that I'll remember for a very long, long time. It's quite a tough place to come and win, and to get that victory last night was unbelievable.
Scott Westwood is out there in number 18. There he is at the back of the line out doing the lifting, and it's been well taken by Veretti. These big Fijians. Here's another one. Bollandau came on pretty early to win his 25th IS cap for the Army. Davies has just been impressive, this Army fly half today. As we mentioned, a little bit of surprise that Jack Johnson didn't start the game. Mikey McDonald. Good quick ball off the deck. Oh, that's a lovely pass, and it might end up with a try. It will! And it's an absolute beauty. For Captain Stu Cross for the British Army. Oh, that was lovely rugby, and they extend their lead.
Yeah, a good break. They got the offload away, and just great line from Stu Cross, who was just out there providing that support play. good try for the captain. Something he'd be very proud of. His first IS game as captain.
Yeah, if you just see how this unfolds, like when the Army get into these wider channels, the RAF are relying on one-up tackles, and the outside defence just came too high, got in front of the ball, it just allowed an offload post-contact, which created a dog-leg in defence and a great finish. Great footwork, great finish.
Yeah, credit to Captain Stu Cross. Of course, Jamie Miller stepping down, long-term captain of this Army team after winning the Inter Services last year. So many changes for this Army team in the off-season. Only 5 players who started the Army-Navy last year started this fixture today. That gives you an indication of the turnover of talent as Davies adds an extra couple of points. And the British Army just flexing their muscles now in this contest. Bit of a mountain to climb now for the Air Force.
Yeah, really key how the RF respond now. Again, not to get too excited yet. The game's not gone. They've just got to work hard to stay in this fixture and just make sure the next actions are positive actions for them. A long way to go.
So we're back underway. Air Force kick deep. Davies again in the direction of Norton. He tries to keep it in field, but he can't. The Air Force captain, emotional day for him. We mentioned his final game for the Air Force is leaving the service in June.
Yeah. Time off. It's something to change here. Number one.
RAF haven't really managed this first 15 minutes that well. A couple of missed line-outs. Not playing in the right areas. Scrums going awry. Just need to get back into this game. The game's not gone. Impose themselves in the game like they were in the first half.
Naiolo and Bollandau combining in midfield, but there's a penalty, leaving their feet. Not supporting their own body weight at least, so a bit of a let-off there for the Air Force.
Shoulders on hips to be rewarded.
When these games, and they can go loose, this is where, the Army, particular Fijian contingent, can certainly get into their own playing in loose field. And that's what the RF must do, and they've demonstrated probably over the last 8 years in Inter Services Rugby. They can stay in the fight, stay in a game and stay there till the end and dig out, bring themselves back into a game and get a result. So, there's certainly a lot of work for them to do, but they're not out of it, and they've got the resilience to do that.
Speaking of Fijians, Viliami Kotabalabo is out there in the 19 shirt. He's replacing Josiah Vizet. Not sure they're going to lose much there.
Once backwards. No, it isn't.
24-12. Army leading the Air Force. RF decide to kick. Here's Reeve again. He sends it high. Diagonal kick. Difficult to take, but doing really well is Mark Williams for the Air Force. Flings it back in field. Now it's into the hands of William Reeve. He kicks ahead, but was he taken out? Army support think this should be a penalty, but it might work out for them anyway. William Reeve has got himself up off the floor and somehow finished off a try for the British Army. Extraordinary score.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it seemed like a few of the RF players stopped when that kick went through and the player was taken out. Army kept playing and just got Will Reeve no reward for what was a good kick in the first place. Finishing off a try in what's been a good afternoon for him so far.
I think the RAF are just trying to overplay now. I think they feel like they feel the pressure of the scoreboard. They're overplaying in the wrong areas of the park, and they just need to find a way of getting that blueprint of the first half back, putting the ball in the right areas, going to the power game, getting the game tighter. At the moment, they're falling into a trap of playing wide, expansive rugby, offloading, and it's just playing into the Army's hands, which ultimately is costing them more pressure on the scoreboard.
29-12. Kick this, they'll go through 30. Just hooks it there, does Owen Davies. So remains 29-12 approaching three-quarter time here.
He's a successful kicker, Davies, but he looks quite uncomfortable in the way he kicks for posts.
So, hang on.
It was Lamont getting back here in the 12 shirt, but RAF just couldn't hold on to it.
14 as well, please.
Couldn't believe his luck. The major.
Just tell me when you're ready. I'm okay.
Lloyd Owen is heading towards the sideline, and on the field is Kieran Prescott, former rugby league player. Now, he can break things open, but so can Ifademi Bollandale. Back in the pocket is Davis. Confusion again at the back for the Air Force. Norton does pick it up. Mikey McDonald. Here's a carry from Kotobalavu, and then across to Veretti, and now Pete Austin, but he loses the handle in contact. Yet again, though, these big Fijian ball carriers wreaking havoc out there for the Royal Air Force. So, John Knighton has located the British Army head coach. John, over to you.
Okay, Tim Osmond's with me now, the head coach for the Army. Tim, very satisfying last few minutes.
Yeah, the boys have responded well since half-time, so yeah, back in the game and put a little bit of a lead there now.
Those two tries have put a bit of blue water, or red water between you and the Air Force.
Yeah, it's definitely running red now.
Tell me, I mean, is it just a question of now game management now in the last few minutes here?
Yeah, we talked about it at half-time. We did pretty well over the yellow card period. We came back and scored 7 then. And the rest of the time, we didn't really put much into the game in terms of our management. Managed to sort of, the RAF managed to get amongst us a little bit, slow our ball down a little bit, and our penalty count was too high. So the boys have been working on that, just trying to keep hold of the ball and play our way a little bit now, and that's paid dividends and forcing the RAF now to make a few mistakes.
The RAF came out of the traps as you expected they would, I think, at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's a nice game. What else do you expect? It's not rocket science.
As a spectator, I mean, fantastic game so far, really enjoyable.
Yeah, helped by a great pitch, a decent crowd and nice weather, so looking forward to it. Hopefully we finish off with a bit of style now as well.
Just tell me, as head coach, is it easy for you to enjoy, or are you just living every moment, going through every bit of pain?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's easy, no.
So, well done, thanks very much.
I'll enjoy it one day, I hope.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, great to hear from Lieutenant Colonel Tim Alsman. He succeeded Mal Roberts as head coach of this British Army team, and you've got to say credit where credit's due, Ash. What a performance from them so far.
Yeah, they've really stepped up this second half. Myself and Josh would just say I don't think the RAF have really ventured into the Army half, and and that's really showing on the scoreboard. They're playing some good stuff. The continuity is good. The weather's good to them today. That's really suiting their style of rugby. But their execution has been excellent.
Advantage here to the Air Force. Yeah, worth noting that Tim Alsman has a connection here to Gloucester through Mike Tyndall. Tim himself has been dealing with Parkinson's disease for the last 6 years, and does a lot of fundraising with Mike Tyndall, who's very involved with that charity.
Yeah, I think for Tim, he came in quite short notice on the back of coaching the under-23s or director rugby for them. And has not been directly involved in senior service rugby for quite some years. So, we've mentioned the changes since last year in playing personnel, but he's really galvanised them, and they're putting on a display today.
Yeah, they changed it up a bit this week as well. They went to the Tower of London on Thursday, the Army team. Former Army players, now a beefeater, showed them around, showed them the crown jewels. Well, not quite there yet with the Inter Services this year, but at 29-12, you think they might have given themselves a very good chance heading to Twickenham on May 13th. We hope to see you there, either in person on the day at HQ or watching the live stream by BFBS. Should be another great occasion. Double header, of course, and there's another tackle coming in. Was that high? Player was falling. More big defence coming in. RAF just struggling to get out of their own half here. Almost, as you say, Ash, the entire half has been played on the left-hand side of the field here. Reed was running onto that, but the ball went behind him. It's gone over the sideline. Not the prettiest sequence of play you'll ever see in your life.
No, it was a bit scrappy and messy there, and it's looking forward now to that Twickenham fixture. The Navy coaches Dave Pascoe, Andy Vance, John Court will certainly be watching this game with intrigue today, knowing that they can will have to try and unpick this Army game, which will be a shootout now for the Inter-Service title. And hey, this game ain't done yet, but it's certainly slipping away from the RAF, but it certainly makes that game at Twickenham a shootout.
It's a good thing about having a draw in the first game of the Inter Services, isn't it? You know you're guaranteed a winner takes all at Twickenham on the final day. Bollandow again.
No, I just left it. Thank you.
Chipping over the top here in the direction of Conor O'Reilly. Just dribbles over the sideline. Someone's having a birthday here at Kingsholm today. Is it you, Ash?
Not me yet, but you can see there with the RAF, the tighter props caught out on the wing, for covering a kick. So they need to get their shape back and just galvanise a bit.
So here come the Air Force looking to respond. As you say, not done yet, but they can ill afford to score any more points here as Harry Johnson carries the ball forward. Parkin kicks, but you could see the expression on his face as soon as it left the boot. In fact, my apologies, Jordan Oatley, the replacement scrum half who's come on for the Air Force, just kicked it straight out on the full.
The RAF are making this so difficult for themselves. I don't think the ball's come past the halfway line in this second half. Overplaying, not exiting correctly. It's just playing into the Army's hands, and as this game goes on, fatigue kicks in, and some of the Army strike runners are just going to be running a riot, offloading. The RAF just need to compose themselves, get the ball in the right area, really tighten this game up.
OK, let's go back to John Knighton, who's got a very special guest with him.
Just dig myself in here and sit next to you, and then we can have a quick chat with the breaking play. Now, a little bird tells me that... Are we live?
Perfect for us.
Are we on him? Are you live?
It's a perfect...
Go for it. OK, Brian, we are live on the TV at the moment, so enjoying the afternoon, presumably.
Who couldn't? Hey, 29-12, yes, I'll enjoy that every time.
I'm sure you are. Now, tell me, I hear a little bird tells me that the Chelsea pensioners are going to be setting up a walking rugby club. Tell me about it.
We've set it up already. First training session is on Monday morning at Rosslyn Park. We've got 20-odd pensioners, all interested. We're going to set a walking rugby team up. We'll challenge every one of the local rugby clubs to a match, have them in to see us, and we'll go and visit them. It's what it's all about. You don't have to stop playing rugby just because you get a bit older. We've all got bad knees, we've all got bad hips, but we can still walk, and if you can walk, you can play walking rugby.
That's fantastic. Did you play rugby, in your army time?
Nothing special. I wasn't able to, but I was always in small units. Didn't have enough men for the 15 aside.
Well, good luck with it. Thank you very much, Steve, for talking to us. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Hey, you're welcome.
It's on a big 5-year journey. I think if you look at the two teams, there's not that many caps in the RAF team compared to quite a few experienced players in the Army. So it's a journey that these boys are going to go on, and it's going to be an exciting couple of years for this team.
Well, here's a big carry from Conor Balavu. He offloads the ball to Pete Austin, who picks up, goes again, the hooker. Imposing stuff again from the men in red. Out the back to Davis. They're really opening the playbook now, the British Army, and they're going to get another try on debut. It's Veremi Kodawale set up a try in the first half, and he has one all to himself here in the second, and that might well seal the deal for the British Army.
Yeah, it's a great play from the Army. Broke down the left here with the hooker Austin, charging down for the line. Got held up, and then again, good continuity play. Just kept the ball alive, no mistakes, and ultimately just found that space on the far side. Kolivari just showing his class again. You know, they look like a finely tuned team right now. Under the post there'll be some difficult chats for the RAF because there's still quite a bit of time to go. I think it's up 15.
This is like the Army team that we recognise, that physical in defence, stop you on the gain line, put you back past the gain line, and just running on at speed, running over the gain line. It's so difficult to stop a team when they're like this, especially when momentum's in their favour.
They'd make a pretty handy sevens team, wouldn't they, the Fijians in this Army side today? Kodawale recently signed with Newcastle Falcons. Only moved to England a few years ago. 2019. London Irish Wild Geese for 6 months before joining the Army. Made his debut, senior debut for the Army in the Mobs match against Bedford, and here he is, Inter Services debut. And it's been a day out, it's got to say. Air Force have possession though, almost for the first time seemingly from the kickoff of this second half. Apart from that, the ball's on the right side of the field from an Air Force point of view. Here's Norton. He'll want to finish well in his final game for the Air Force, the number 8 and captain. Good quick hands there to Matt Harris. 36-12. Nice change of direction and carry from Chris Williams, the replacement hooker. Just through the hands there, and here's Kieran Prescott. Watch him, the former rugby league man. We were told he might be able to add something. There you go. But the big defence coming in once again. Still alive though for the Air Force. Prescott with the break. Ryan Pugh put on his backside, but carried on again here from Connor Morris. This is better from the RAF. They're going to work the short side here. Cut out ball to Ryan Crowley. Pugh, the fly half, is still on the floor in back play, so someone else is going to have to play first receiver here, and it's Luke Riddle that puts his hand up. There is Pugh, still on the floor, holding his lower back. Felt that tackle. More big defence coming in. Pete Austin still out there making tackles for the Army. He's played every minute. They're going to kick, cross kick, but it's been very well read by McDonald. He takes the mark.
Again, just looked like they run out of ideas. They've had very little possession and attack this half, and you know, just seemed to run out of energy and ideas. Looked for the crossfield kick, but there was always someone wide in that pocket, so probably keeping hold of the ball and just trying to go again might have been a better option.
You just see the fatigue starting to kick in now. It's been a brutal second half for the RAF, and an opportunity now in their half, and the RAF just got so narrowed. Individual runners that the Army were lining up, and like I said, fatigue sets in now, and a game that you've got to chase, it becomes quite a difficult prospect.
Parachute jumping instructor Luke Riddell. Grew up in the Scottish borders. Melrose Rugby Football Club, Jed Forrest as well. Plays for the Spitfires. That's the sevens team for the Air Force.
2 Army, 2.
This Pugh still getting attention. The fly half, and coming off here is Pete Austin for British Army. What a shift he's put in.
I think that's him retiring for the 3rd year on the bounce, isn't it? Pete Austin keeps coming back every year.
Edge of the line.
He's actually a Portsmouth boy, so should have joined the Navy. But
Yeah, Royal Artillery. England age grades. Played a bit in the Hawke's Bay in New Zealand as well, did Pete Austin. Long ball over the top. Good carry as well. Veretti. Got to watch him. Trying to rip the ball clear from him is Sam Breeze. Mikey McDonald. In his Frank Kelly in number 23 just yesterday.
That's fine. He's kicked it forward.
yeah.
Just passed out down at Sandhurst. It's been quite a couple of days for him. Fireworks at midnight. I wonder if he stayed up. Super Frank, they call him. McDonald. He's hit by Crowley. Just getting a bit loose now, this contest. Approaching the final 10 minutes. There's a nice offload. Boland's out at Mayalo. We're going to go back for one of those infringements. It was a knock-on the floor.
Yeah, it has got loose now. You can see that, as Josh was saying, the fatigue and the errors are starting to creep in. I think one thing the RAF haven't really done today is challenged, the Army to play deep out of their half. And, there's something where the Navy are going to have to look at, trying to change tactics to really go at them.
There is Second Lieutenant Frank Kelly, commissioned in front of His Royal Highness the King at Sandhurst just yesterday. Bit of attention.
Hang on.
For Nayolo, but he's back on his feet.
10. It's 10. It's 10, not you. 10.
Bit of confusion here as Dave Manning looks to be coming back onto the field. So who he's replacing.
Time on.
And it's Ryan Pugh, the fly half, that's gone to the sideline. So I'm not sure Manning's his replacement. Pretty versatile, Dave Manning, but I'm not sure he plays 10.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
So 36-12. The British Army, as this game has gone on, they have asserted their authority. There's Kelly. Nice back move here. Reeve over to McDonald. Checks inside. Nice feet there from Jack Johnson, who's out there at number 22. He was the starting fly half for the Army last season.
He's crossing there.
Scrum infringement.
3 lost lines to ground.
Would have thought maybe advantage had been played there, but perhaps not.
You see around the ground all the new caps for the Veterans game, the Masters and the Vultures, and the Ladies game that include the Army team doctors wearing his cap under his woolly hat, pitch side there.
Nice, mate. Line's yours. Line's yours. Line's yours. Hang on. Right. RAF go across me with the line. Army come up. Thank you.
So attacking line out for the Army, looking for their 6th try here to finish off. A fine afternoon in the sunshine, but the ball has gone into Air Force hands. They're going to play out here. Inside the final 10 minutes, they're looking for a strong finish. No points to show for their efforts so far in this second half. They kick over the sideline, but not that far at all. They're going to have to do more defending here. Sergeant Joseph Brown preparing to come on the field. There he is. He's already been on. He's just getting the ball. Throw the line out here. Set piece has been impressive. There you go again. Nicely done. Down to Bollandau.
Accidental offside.
So just getting themselves offside there accidentally. The Army. Air Force will take it.
I'm not really sure what he's giving. He's giving accidental offside. Very difficult to do that animal, but.
Well, here's another look at it, Josh.
Not seeing the same as what he's seeing, but he's the man in charge.
As you said before, Dan Parrott, eagle-eyed. There's a bit of attention on the floor for Joe Brown. His kids, Spencer and Jasper, will be watching on.
There you go, lads. Time on. Accidental offside. Scrum.
So it'll be an Air Force feed to the scrum.
Crouch.
Competitive first half, went in 14-12 at the break, just 2 points down. The British Army have really upped the ante in the second period, and there you go. The front eight doing the damage once again. And replacement hooker Joseph Brown enjoyed that one.
Standing up under pressure.
Big Sarge up front. And they're not going to go for six here. They're going to go hunting a sixth score, a sixth try.
Five's your line, lad. Five's your line.
RAF need to dig deep here. You know, it's could be an element of a lull because it feels like the game's gone, but they, you know, there's still, you know, that bit to play for and to, you know, fight hard here and you know, just to show what they're about, because they're a very capable side, and you know, in patches today have shown just how good they are, and why they earned that draw down in Devonport.
So here come the British Army looking for a sixth score. Joseph Brown has it under control, but he won't be awarded the score himself because
19.
It's a penalty try
19.
against the Air Force, and it's going to get worse for them. They're going to have a yellow card as well
19.
to Connor Morris. And I'm not sure that Joseph Brown's that pleased about that, because he could have had a try on the Inter Services.
I know. He's had that scrubbed off the card now, the record, but
Clearly sacked by 19 blue.
yeah, real shame for him. He's a well-worked maul.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
So 43-12 with the successful.
Tackle!
Well, you don't need to kick the conversion these days. It's an automatic 7.
Use it!
What a performance in the second half from the British Army. A lot of people fancied the Air Force today, especially after their performance down in Plymouth against the Navy. But here's a bright spark. Kieran Prescott once again. He's really added something off the bench. We were told he may well do that. Luke Riddle put on the deck. Manning again. He gets the ball. Free. It's been hacked along by Toby Evans. It's gone over the sideline. It'll be an Army throw to the lineouts.
The Army have been so powerful this second half. They're so ferocious indeed. Ball carriers turning up everywhere, getting over the gain line. And it's just learning now for the RAF. I think, like I said before, this is a bit of a journey that this RAF team is going to go on now. I've been on the end of these scores where you feel like you couldn't get away from it, you couldn't get anywhere, a foothold in the game. You just learn from it and lick your wounds and come back next year. And
yeah, it's a bit of a cliche, but you lose or you learn, and they certainly will bounce back.
Okay, Ash, it's about that time of day where it's time for you to award your Elliot Brown Player of the Match. Who have you gone for?
I've gone for, he came in as a bit of a surprise selection, but I think Owen Davies has been superb, bossing the game at 10, and he is the Elliot Brown Man of the Match.
Yeah, good performance from him, hasn't it? He's kicked so well, steered the ship, and a lot of talk about him getting the start ahead of young Jack Johnson, but inspired selection from Tim Alsman to give him the reins. And he's going to get a nice, very smart watch on his wrist to celebrate his performance. Josh McNally's just going to leave us at the moment. He's going to head down to studio. But yeah, brilliant play from the Elliot Brown Player of the Match. Smiles on the dial, and why not? Owen Davis. Supposed to be a fullback.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about him not being an instinctive 10, but he's certainly looked apart today. And showed his experience as he's bossed the game.
Yeah, Pontypridd, South Wales, London Scottish, Wasps as well. And Isaac Norton will score a try for the Air Force in his final game in the RAF First 15. It'll be consolation for him and for them, but well deserved from the Air Force captain.
Yeah, really well deserved. You know, the lad who was man of the match down in Plymouth when he played the Navy, and he started off like a train today. It's quite hard to believe now looking at the scoreboard. You know, less than 40 minutes ago, you know, the RAF were very much in this game, and testament to the Army and how they've come out and performed second half. But you know, nothing to be taken away from what the RAF have showed, and particularly Isaac in the first half. And a great finish. Yeah, and he'll have enjoyed that in his own bittersweet way.
Yeah, bittersweet, that's exactly it. He's going to leave this RAF in the summer.
What's that one like?
And he can have that memory.
Technical term, that is it?
And the fist pump there, yeah, that told you the emotions that he would have been dealing with today. He would have hoped that try might have been more decisive in terms of the result. Not to be, but a good moment for the Air Force skipper. So 43-17 now. Unsuccessful conversion. Just a couple of minutes to play out. Sun's been shining here. It's been a wonderful occasion. Big crowd here for an Inter Services fixture. There's Lamont still charging into the Army defensive line, but there's another knock-on the floor. And perhaps that sums it up, Ash. It's just that attention to detail that hasn't quite been there for the Air Force today. Yeah, no, definitely no. Their set piece second half has stuttered, and like you say, attention to detail, just looking after the ball. When they have had to go forward, you know, there's been little knock-ons and you know, breakdowns in their skill set. It's a tough game in service rugby, you know, in whatever games you play in the build-up to it. When it comes to these fixtures, you know, it is blood and thunder, and you know, they give it a good account for themselves. They'll be very disappointed with the second half and how it's got away from them, but you know, they will go again. And the Army will go again on the 13th of May at Twickenham. Mikey McDonald looking for a try of his own. Jinking run from the replacement halfback. Carried on again. 6 metres out. Army. And here's another carry from Korobalabu. Stu Cross, the skipper. He has a try of his own already in this game. He's led this team with aplomb this afternoon in the number 6 shirt.
That's good counter. It's his own man.
47 times the British Army have won the Inter Services title. And they will go to Twickenham looking for another one when they face the Royal Navy, who still have a chance of their own. Mikey McDonald. Oh, the scrum half. No, it's obstruction. But they're going to go back for the original decision. which is a penalty.
16
The RF
roll
need
out.
front up here because they're going to take a tap.
Veretti wants it quickly, but it'll be Bollandau in his 25th Inter Services game, who will score the Army's 7th try here this afternoon. And when doesn't the big man show up on the big occasion? Congratulations, Bollandau, a try of his own.
It's a good finish, and I think for the RF, it's just this point they've probably played to allowed the Army to play the stereotypical Army game, which has brought them success over time. And looking forward, the Navy will certainly try to prevent that happening when they play them at Twickenham by being able to combat that and not make them play a game where they're comfortable.
And Jack Johnson here has a chance to make it 50 from wide out. Excellent goal kicker, player of the match in this fixture against the Royal Air Force last year. He's teed it up high, and he's given it a right hoof, but it's just going to fly in front of the uprights. But no bother, it'll be high fives all round for the British Army on the back of a dominant second half performance. The Army went into half time just with a 2-point lead, and they have added a further 5 tries to dominate the Royal Air Force here at Kingsholm. Army 48, Royal Air Force 17. And there's the Elliott Brown player of the match, Owen Davis. Very good performance from him, and we're going to hear from him shortly. But Ash Coates, how do you sum that one up?
A great first half, a spectacle of rugby. Where the RF competed, and like I say, it's a 2-point game then. And then second half, RF didn't really get going, and the Army really stepped up a gear, played some excellent rugby. Very stereotypical of how they play, but awesome. But they really did put on a show and show what the Navy have got to step up to play against when it comes to Twickenham. But a great spectacle of forces rugby.
Yeah, and part of that great spectacle was the British Army fly half Owen Davis, and he's downstairs with John Knighton.
Well, Owen, congratulations on a brilliant win for the Army this afternoon. We thought it was going to be a really tight game, but actually that scoreline suggests otherwise.
I'm well happy with the boys pulling out the bag. First half definitely was what we expected. I'm really happy with the boys that our chat sort of solidified things in the half time, and we come out and put it on like in the second half.
But your kicking, really made the difference in many ways, because when you went behind, you were on for a bit of a chase, but you kept them in the game, and it built from there.
That was one of the things that come from half time chat. Obviously, what they give us to do, we obviously made it happen. Happily they come off, and
What does this mean for the boys, to have won here in such emphatic style today?
The boys will be chuffed. I mean, speaking of them now on the side, there's a few boys last season as well, last RAF, and I'm really happy that they put in a really good performance. Really happy for them.
Well, Owen, you are man of the match, or player of the match, I should say, and Gemma is right here. Gemma Parker from our match sponsors, and Gemma, you're going to just say a couple of words.
Yeah, well, firstly, congratulations, great win. So, player of the match from us to you is a watch of your choice. I'm not going to shake your hand because I see you're carrying an injury there. But a phenomenal game today, great atmosphere. I hope you've really enjoyed it, and we look forward to big things at Twickenham.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Our player of the match, Owen Davis, in what's been a terrific team performance from the British Army.
Yeah, surprise possession for Owen Davis, the Elliott Brown player of the match here. What a performance from him and his side. A lovely keepsake to take away from this fixture. And you've got to say, if we throw it forward to the Army Navy at Twickenham in a couple of weeks' time, few weeks' time, Ash Coates, your boys, the Navy, having watched that performance, what will they be thinking?
We know it's going to be a challenge, it always is. We know recent history, we're disappointed a year ago with a result against an Army that played very similar style. And we know we can certainly get our game right and get out. I'm not taking anything away from them. We know how good they can be. But, we'll certainly do our homework over the next few weeks. And, Dave Pascoe, as the head coach there, he knows what he's got to do with his team. Get them in the right mindset to be able to, we spoke about in this game, keep competitive for the full 80, and I think unfortunately that trickled away from the RAF early on in the second half. And as soon as that happens, we've seen these boys, they'll run and run, and being in that shootout, all the way to the end, fighting for your land, fighting for to earn your place to be winners on that pitch is what we're going to do. The Navy certainly won't allow that give up or that surrender of our land to happen.
OK, we can get some reaction from the losing team now. His last game for the Air Force. Scored a try in the second half. That was their brightest moments. Here's Isaac Norton with John.
Well, it's never easy to speak to the losing team's captain, but Isaac, thanks ever so much for joining us immediately after a pretty rough afternoon for the RAF in the end. You started so well.
Yeah, great start from the boys. I think we let the occasion get a little bit too ahead of us. We started so well, we thought, bloody hell, we're in here. Let it get on top of us. We completely underestimated the Army today. We thought they were going to be, well, I'd say average at best, but they brought a strong side out and we underestimated them.
When you got that early lead, it must have really upped the confidence amongst the boys, but they came at you so strongly, didn't they, immediately?
Oh yeah, massively. If you just switch off for 1 minute, that's it. They can get back in so easy. They've got the capability out wide. We just let them get that and take it, and then they go on and went on. It's a hard day in the office, but hard one to take.
It has been a hard one, a tough one. But personally, I mean, you've really made a massive contribution, scoring that try right at the end, just showing that the RAF will never ever give in, never stop.
No. We say it every year. 2018, last time we won. We're definitely working to something where we can get confident to win an IS year in, year out. This group of boys is fantastic. I love them so much, and yeah, hard one.
You will come again, and we'll be there to support you all the way, along with the rest of our military rugby players, because you've been absolutely superb.
Yes, thanks very much.
Cheers, Isaac. Thank you.
Yeah, gracious words and a fine performance from a very fine player, Isaac Norton. Ash Coates just said to me while we were listening to that interview, imagine him in the Army team. And yeah, he is a quality rugby player, and he will say farewell to his distinguished Air Force career. Didn't turn out the way he wanted, but an excellent servant for Air Force Rugby Union. His teammates will be very proud of him, despite the result of this fixture this afternoon. So the British Army will gather now, and they will prepare to accept their trophy, this contest. Some consoling hugs from family and friends for the Air Force team.
There's give a mention to Dave Manning. He put in a tremendous shift out there. He's a former RAF captain, in-service winner, and as a prop to put in 80 minutes in this day and age.
Great to see Owen Davis there. He's been married to his wife Gemma for 11 years. Couple of sons, one of them's here with him. And here they come now. Captain Stu Cross leading his team up. There's the player of the match, Davis. Pete Austin still going strong, accepting his medal. All of these players really stood up today. The starting scrum half, Al Glixton, inspired selection, him, the former Saracens man, Cambridge Blue. And there's the big tight head, Graham Smith. And Frank Kelly, what a couple of days, number 23. Passed out at Sandhurst yesterday. Commissioned. Now the winner of this Inter Services game here this afternoon at Kingsholm against the Royal Air Force. Will Reeve, he picked up a try, had a fine performance. Bollandau just dominated at number 8. There is Major William Reeve, Royal Gurkha Rifles, with his young daughter Evelyn. She'll be able to enjoy playing with Daddy's medal. Actually played international rugby for Kenya as William Reeve. And there's Colonel Sandy Carmichael there accepting his medal. And of course the new head coach, Lieutenant Colonel Tim Alsman, has taken over from this Mal Roberts side and made so many changes, a lot of them forced through retirements, deployments, injuries. I mentioned just 5 players remaining from the Army-Navy starting 15 from last year. That's why the RAF thought they had a really good chance today, because it was an untested Army outfit, but not so. This second half performance, if anything, they grew into the game. It just got better and better.
Yeah, every one of them was on their game today. You know, nobody dropped off in performance, and as a collective, you know, they all, you know, superb.
And here comes Captain Stu Cross, the new skipper of this Army team. But with the silverware, that's what they came for. It has been a red letter day for the British Army at Kingsholm once again. They will go to Twickenham in fine fettle, looking to close out another Inter Services title.
With today's results complete, the third and final leg of the championship will see the Royal Navy host the Army in mid-May. The Royal Navy Mariners host the Army Masters.
So as the Army celebrate their fine performance here. And that'll be all from me this afternoon. Rupert Cox with you. I've been alongside Ash Coates. And Josh McNally and Mal Roberts are down with Kath Brazier in the studio, and they'll pick it up in a couple of minutes.
What does it take to become a master? Power, skill, knowledge. It takes patience. Until it's time to take action. Elliot Brown, Beachmaster.
We'd like to thank you all for your support today. Wish you a very safe journey home and a very good afternoon. Remember, Kingsholm Road is...
So it's an Army double here at Kingsholm, and well, two different sides here, a happy face and a not so happy face. But Josh, you have to speak to us in the bad times as well as the good. So what's your assessment of that match?
All credit to the Army coming out in the second half. I said it on commentary, like we've seen probably the Army that we remember, we recognise from the last 10 years. So powerful, so physical. Defence hitting shot after shot over the gain line. Ball carriers turning up, offloads. There was very little that RAF could do, and the RAF really struggled to get out of their own half, which just gave the Army players momentum onto the ball, and it's a very, very difficult half for the RAF to face. But the positive out of it, like this group will learn, like I said before, it's a very young group, a group that's going to probably go on a journey for the next few years now and lick their wounds and come back again in 12 months' time.
And Mal, you're obviously feeling slightly different and a little bit surprised, not doing your Army side any disservice, but a little bit surprised by the bigness of the score.
Yeah, you know, from my perspective, I kind of spoke in the first half and at half-time, and, you know, I said that discipline was key. I think the Army come out and it was definitely a contrasting game. A game of two halves. In the first half, ill discipline, you know, double figures penalties. Second half, I think they might have conceded one at most, and you know, like Josh said, you know, they just come out and perform second half. It was a magical second half performance. You know, Tim will be pleased, I'm sure. The Army didn't really put a foot wrong in that second half, and you know, when you get the big ball carriers of Bolladao and Shane and people like that on the front foot and with momentum, and you know, the offloads come into it. It's so hard to play against, it's so hard to defend.
What does it do for chances for Twickenham, because you've now won a match? The Navy will go into Twickenham having drawn a match like the RAF did today. Does that give you any kind of advantage?
I don't think it does, if I'm honest. You know, what you can do is slip into that mindset that you're going to go and turn up and get the victory. It's not as simple as that. And you know, Josh will know, playing Inter Services, the games are unique. Every single game at IS is unique. It's, you know, if the same Army team turns up, it's going to be a hell of a contest. But you know, be under no illusion that Paco will be there doing his homework, and I'm sure that there'll be confidence as a Navy team to go and put a performance in at Twickenham.
OK, we're just going to go back to John Knighton, who's got another couple of interviews there. And OK, I'm very sorry, we're going to stick with Josh McNally, my much preferred co-commentator here. So thank you, Josh. And can you just describe what the feeling is like when your tournament's over?
Yeah, I think I've been in this position a lot of times playing for the RAF over the last 10 years. Like, it's hard because you almost have to wait another 12 months. That was always my motivation playing for the RAF against these two sides, was you can't wait another 12 months to have a good crack at them. So, like, it's hard, but boys will go have a good night, they'll lick their wounds, and they'll come back again stronger next year.
OK. Stuart Cross is going to come in and say congratulations.
Congrats, mate.
OK, Stuart, I mean, congratulations. A really, really good, a really good match, but an incredible second half.
Yeah, we spoke about a few things at half-time, and I suppose the bench made a massive impact when they came on, but credit to the RAF. Sort of throughout, they really took it to us, and the final score definitely doesn't reflect the quality which they brought today. And
from a personal note, really good to get on the scoreboard yourself?
It's always good to get on the scoreboard, sort of few and far between, but I'll take it.
We know that Owain Davis got player of the match, but any other names in your side, or even in the RAF side, that stuck out for you? I
thought the RAF skipper sort of played really well from 8, and then 9 as well, sort of controlled things, and made us have to think at ruck time in the first half especially. But from our side, I suppose I'll single out a couple. Frank Ackers at number 7 debut. Frank, who came off the bench, debut. It's solid 30 minutes. He actually only commissioned yesterday and was at his commissioning ball last night. He's told us now how many pints he actually had. He told us a different number earlier. And then finally, sort of Bolladao, who earned his 25th cap today, was really special.
And just finally, what does this feel like when you're going into such a big game as Twickenham is? I mean, to be honest, arguably not that much bigger than here, but obviously historically it's huge for the Army.
You're right, historically bigger, but the fact that we are building this to what it is now is brilliant, and it will only go from strength to strength. So this is half a job done for us, and yeah, we'll have a couple of weeks. We've got a mid-IS camp, because there's quite a long time between now and Twickers, and then we'll go again in May.
Thank you so much, Stu. I'm going to stick with Mal and Josh to say a final. Thank you very much, Stu. Congratulations. We'll see you at Twickenham. Josh, just your final take. I know you were just talking about how a little bit demoralising it is when the RAF sort of champion's over, but you're looking forward to the 13th of May and what we'll see at Twickenham.
Yeah, I think we spoke a bit, me and Mal, just off air then, about like the Navy are an extremely structured side. I think we saw obviously how powerful the Army came into the second half, but I think it was probably down to the lack of structure that the RAF brought into that second half. The Navy are a well-drilled outfit. Obviously, we saw a very different game in Plymouth in torrentious conditions, but I think at Twickenham it's a different beast. I think they're a very structured side, and it'll be interesting to see how this Army try and pick apart that team.
Thank you very much, Josh. And Mal, any final words from you as we say goodbye to this live feed here?
It's just looking forward to Twickenham now. You know, it's set the occasion with the victory today for the Army, and like Josh said then, you know, I just hope that the Army goes and puts that performance in again, and I'm sure they will. But, you know, Dave will be doing everything in his power to try to derail what is that juggernaut of an Army team.
Well, thank you so much to you, Mal, and to you, Josh, for joining us here at Kingsholm, and also to all the other commentators and presenters we've had today. We're going to look ahead to that match on the 13th of May for the Army-Navy this year. The Army Navy are 13th of May at Twickenham, and what an amazing adventure it is. What an amazing day it is, and it was moved this year, of course, because of the King's coronation, but we will be there on the 13th of May. We look forward to seeing you then.
Are we lost?
No, I know where we're going.
I bet you I could run there faster.
No, you can't.
Right, I'll bet you my watch.
Deal.
Okay, let's go.
Double or quits?